yada yada. There was so much at the house that I couldn't see it, you know?
So is it safe to say that there's an opportunity there for tighter budgets, better walkthrough, more front end of really vetting the house, taking some time there and saying, what are we really looking at here to really make a better decision? Or is it a combination of that and this? The fact that the properties you're buying anyway will always need more money, always need more work.
I would be safe to say that there's probably both that going on.
Yeah, okay.
There's probably properties that we're picking up that probably shouldn't be picking up. You know, probably should be wholesaling the ones, and then the ones that we are going to keep probably have a better formula. Like, I remember taking notes at your boot camp. You were like, yeah, if I walk in and the mechanicals is shot, this is shot, that's shot, I don't do the deal.
100%. Right? It doesn't even matter what market you're in. When you start looking at all that adding up, right off the bat, you're looking at it going, all right, cool, I've seen enough. I know that the budget I'd like to be at for my model, this house isn't for that model.
Yeah.
But it could be, like you said, it could be something you pick up in wholesale right away for cash flow.
Yeah.
You know, so there's opportunities there where maybe you don't necessarily have to pass on as many projects. You just have to be better. You have to be more choosy. Where does it fall? Does it fall under wholesale or does it fall under buy and hold? Are we going to rehab it or are we just going to get rid of it? Because it's okay to balance it because the wholesale is going to give you some more cash flow, right? It's not a huge rip at the end of the day, but if you do, imagine how many properties you could pass on once I look at what you're doing. Maybe 30 projects you thought you would have bought this past year, you pass on. What if you wholesale those 30? You make 10, 15K off each one. That added up real quick.
Right.
That's paying some bills. Right? That's someone's salary. So there's ways to leverage that to make sure that you're not missing an opportunity. You're just segmenting it where the opportunity is. Maybe everything's a rehab. Well, maybe it's all wholesale. Who cares? Do both. My opinion, your business, but I'm looking for the needs. I'm writing down my opportunities, and that's the whole point of this conversation, which I appreciate. So I'm already looking at opportunities in the better front end. I'm looking at opportunities with tighter budgets. I'm also looking at possibly wholesaling more. I'm also looking at passing. Some properties you might just have to pass on, and that's okay. Who's doing the screening initially when you actually do the front end? So, you know, you guys have property that you're interested in, you want to put it under contract. Who actually goes out there and puts together the preliminary budget?
So the acquisitions manager right now is doing that, and it's all over the phone.
Okay.
And then he goes out there to meet them in person if it goes down later in that process.
And what's the acquisition manager's name?
So that's Walker Music.
Walker Music, what a name, that's cool. Walker Music then puts the property under contract via telephone. Once under contract, he then will take the time to physically go to the property?
So right now, he's out there doing two things. Getting it over the phone, if it, because he knows the areas now. He's like, oh man, that's 20K and, you know, the zip code. And he's like, all right, I'll put it over, a contract over the phone. And then if he does that, you know, it was the construction manager to go out there and verify what the, you know, acquisitions manager was putting in the notes over the phone. Then Robert, old property man, construction manager, would go out, write up a scope per the standards that we have.
Correct.
And share that scope back to the team, back to acquisitions manager, and we would determine if the numbers are going to work or not.
Got it.
Now that we don't have that guy, Rich is going to be that guy to go out and verify. We call that the rehab verification process.
Okay. Is Rich qualified for estimations?
So Rich was trained on how we use our estimations by Robert.
Was Robert good?
Robert was the construction manager at that point.
But was Robert pretty accurate? Or would you say now in reflection, he was off by X amount, or he was consistently missing this?
I would say he, towards the end there, was getting off on a lot of numbers. But there's also some where he was like under a couple $1,000. The ones that he was over, we're the ones that I'm telling you, like, man, how did you miss that up front? You know, like, why didn't you check the windows?
I get it.
Or,
I get it. You know, so you said you said you have a scope of work standards, which is awesome. I'm going to see that.
Yeah. I'll write that down to share.
And you don't have to send it to me now. When I first come out there, I can look at it, because what we'll do is we'll set up training for, at least get them training in the mindset of what project management looks like, what a construction company should look like. You know, when I look at the personnel that you have and what their roles and responsibility is, it really comes down to the business model of how the paper flows through the business, right? How does this property float through the business, right? That's all it is. Who touches it, when and where, how long do they touch it for, how long do they pass it on? It's systems and processes. It looks like we have an opportunity to train Rich Wiggins a lot. I think we have also an opportunity to cross-train Sherry and cross-train Walker if they're open to it. Because here's one thing I'll tell you that I tell everybody. There will be people who will be here at the end, and there'll be new people who are at the end. The choice is not really going to be yours, per se, as an owner, as a boss. It's people that either choose to adapt or fire themselves, right? You're going to start learning early on that you are in a position of power and you deserve the respect, and there is a hierarchy and there is a way to do business, and that way of doing business is why you're paying me. That's why you're calling me. That has got to be something your personality needs to check now, is that we have boss mode happening here, and there's going to be a process. And if people do not want to follow that process, it's going to hurt you financially. And that's the reality of what we want to show the team now, is that you guys are making the effort to really take everything you have floating out there and tighten it up and say, here's how the machine works. Our Ferris wheel will never stop moving. Properties will come in, properties will come out, people will come in, people will come out, but it'll never stop moving. Somebody who throws a wrench into it to make it stop moving, that's your first sign they're gone. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm not coming here to say, let's fire everybody. But it just happens. It's just you start seeing who the strong and who the weak are. And it comes down to experience. You can ask anybody I've consulted for. It's the experienced people that survive. It's the inexperienced that won't, because they won't get it. They are now forced to learn something new. And obviously with me teaching it, I expect them to pay attention and execute, right? That's the whole idea. I always do a lot, just so you know, part of the onboarding process is I always do 15-minute one-on-ones. So when I do come into town, and I may do this ahead of time. I may actually call them individually, so I'll need their contact info. I talk to them 15 minutes, introduce who I am, what I'm doing, what the goals are, and I ask them to take me through their day, so I understand what they think their job description is. Because more often than not, what they do during the day may not be what you think they're doing during the day. And that's interesting, because we need to make sure all team players are on the same field, doing and trying to meet the same objective. And if I think my job is 1, 2, 3, and you're saying, no, dude, it's ABC, we're already conflicted. And that's okay. We just need to get people on the same page. So one thing I'll ask is contact information for these individuals, emails, info numbers, and you can CC the whole team if you want, if it's easier. And I'll do a 15-minute, and then I'll actually supply you with that 15-minute. You and I will go over that, so I can say, hey, I spoke to these team members. Here's kind of what we did. Do you, in fact, have an actual onboarding process for yourself? You bring in a new team member. Do you have standard, SOPs? Do you train them? Is there some way that you facilitate that, or is it more gradual with you one-on-one as you need things?
So right now, a lot of our processes are being documented right now.
Okay.
So standard SOPs are being created, and sometimes they're changing because of certain things that we're doing acquisitions. So to answer your question, we have processes documented that we train them on, and then the onboarding is like, we call it like a transition. We call it transitions basically, and it's like this list of what we've trained on their first days. Anything we are training them on, it gets documented. It's been it's something that we've implemented since the EOS model, and it's starting to kind of get loose again. So we got to bring that back and keep it.
Well, you texted me the level 10 meeting, so right off the bat I smiled. I said, okay, good, you're having the high level meeting.
Yeah, and I'm facilitating those. But what's tending to happen is that we have some structure, and then it starts to get a little loose again. So we got to bring it all back in. That's the tendencies that we have, and it's basically like a Dave and I thing. You know, like we need to just have a little bit more structure, and we're having it, but Dave tends to be a little bit off the structure. So it's like we got structure, and then it starts to break away because we have some adjustments that need to be made. You know, so that's
point blank. It starts with you two.
It does.
Point blank. It starts and ends with you two. You two run the company. It's your company. I will do what you do, right? If you start dressing in sweatpants, I might start dressing in sweatpants. If you say, hey, don't worry about that, I need it Friday, but it's okay, get it to you Monday, I'm going to get it to you every Monday then, instead of Fridays when you really need it. Right. When you deviate from the process, your staff will. And this is why, again, you know, this is so much more than just consulting on rehabs. We look at your construction business as a whole to look at these things, and it comes down to you sticking to the process. You hear me say it all day long, so I'm nauseous and blue in the face, but it's so truthful. And I still have a lot of our clients now that call me and text me on a regular basis, and you guys will too long after this is done. And it's a funny conversation where I'm like, dude, somebody will call me and say, dude, this guy, can you believe such and such did this? And I'll be like, because you let him. I'll tease him, like, because you let him. Go back and tell him what his job is. It's in front of him. You know, it's that kind of thing. So make peace with it now, man, because I'm going to be on your ass too, because my job is to make you better. My job is to make Dave better. And if I can make you guys better, your team will be better, right? That's actually one of my laws in the 50 Laws of Rehab. Take care of your team, they'll take care of you, right? You take care of your team, they take care of your clients. They take care of your properties. They take care of your objectives. And indirectly, that means they're taking care of you. But the moment you slip and slide, start taking vacays and not checking in or not forcing people to have a quality control, and what I say in boot camp, you always quality control the quality control. Once we implement the system, we got to quality control that system to make sure, because there's going to be leaks. All right, what's working, what's not. Some people might adapt, some people won't. Some people might get it, it might take longer for others. We're checking for air leaks, we're checking for water leaks. And that will be the process you will have to run long after I'm gone. But that's where you must stay the course. Don't get lazy, brother, because when you get lazy, they get lazy. And I think, and I just had this conversation with another client who wants me to come out to Delaware. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, do you enforce your policies? And he says, no, not really. I said, do you have policies? He says, kind of, not really. And I said, well, what do you do? You know, he's got about 50 rehabs open right now. And I said, well, what are you planning on doing? Because he wants to double that. I go, okay, how are you going to scale that? You know, what's your business model look like? He doesn't have one. He's got 50 properties. He's a one-man show. And I said, wow. A, I'm impressed. B, you're about to implode and go bankrupt. That's what I told him. And I said, you're calling me at the right time because you're not in trouble yet. You call consultants when you think you're at the top to take you and tweak it. When people call and they're at the bottom, it's already too late. Not much you can do. I can teach you something you should have known a year ago, but it's not going to help you now. So you guys are in a really good position now. You want to scale, things are going better. Do you guys actually have a physical office? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you guys make people come to this office? Or do you give them the freedom of remote?
So the ones that are on salary are at the office. That's the property manager and the construction manager. Everybody else is eat what you kill. So Walker, Janine, the leasing agent. The project manager at that point in time was doing a lot of field work, which he should be out in the field anyways, right?
95% of the time. He should only be in the office for one meeting, and that's pipeline meeting once a week.
Yeah. So, but we, you know, Dave and I work a lot from home now. I'll go into the office a couple times a week because there's stuff there to, you know, pick up and stuff, but this is Zoom call. It's one of my spare bedrooms, you know?
Oh, I know. Zoom call is an amazing thing. Yeah. All right, so do you guys do a pipeline?
We had one the last week, and we're doing one tomorrow because we just got back late last night.
So you do pipelines, great.
We implemented that when we got back.
Oh, for boot camp?
Yeah.
Good. Do you see already just a loose kind of something's happening coming from it now, positive?
Yeah, so it puts people, it holds people accountable, you know? It's like, oh, well, wow,